what's driving today's high buyer demand. And it's kind of broken down to a few different things. And there's obviously multiple aspects to that. But just talk about what's driving that. And one thing we're also seeing is that a lot more buyers are planning to buy soon, more soon, than typically in the past when they kind of wait to that spring market, which is March. And so a lot of that just talks about, quote, home buyers aren't waiting, and I can definitely vouch for that. I've seen that happen here on our team. We've been working like crazy just trying to keep up with everyone coming in town who usually kind of team up their trip or their spring break to March, April, May. They're coming in now buying stuff. And so very, very interesting to say the least. We have some amazing success stories. Our team's been absolutely knocking out the park, including someone who has some very luxury high-end properties that did not get sold by a different agent. We came in, got them under contract very, very quickly. And we even had a property sell for $120,000 over appraisal. And so we'll talk about what's going on with that, and also some horror stories we'll talk about as well after we take a quick break.
All right, a lot of stuff to get to. If you're just tuning in for the very first time and you're not sure who you're listening to or what you're listening to, it's the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show, hosted by, of course, Blake Sloan. Blake Sloan has been called the Real Estate Whiz Kid. He's been featured in Forbes magazine, Wall Street Journal, Realtor magazine, other national publications. You may be seeing him on TV with NBC and also with Fox and Friends with the Morning Show. You've heard the personal endorsements here by Glenn Beck, by Sean Hannity, also Barbara Corcoran, Gary LaVox. Put them all together, it's just totally unprecedented. Now, that's one thing. But the other thing is that Blake has trademark systems for both home sellers and home buyers. They are trademarked, so we can't give you all the details, but more than happy every week to tell you the most important part of that system.
Yes, and I'll tell you, man, this is the whole DNA behind why we do this show, the whole DNA behind why I've done this show for over 10 years. And it really comes down to the same mistake I see over and over and over, and I saw the same mistake this week with someone who's an acquaintance of mine. I'll talk about that in a second. But here's a mistake that everyone makes. They make this mistake of thinking that all real estate agents are the same, and it could not be any further from the truth. Just like any doctor, any lawyer, right, anybody out there that you're in a very, very significant situation, right? If I'm charged with a crime that I did not commit, the last thing I want is the cheapest lawyer, right, who maybe help me out at the lowest price, right? I want the absolute best lawyer who has the best experience, understands my type of law, and is the most aggressive to help me in that scenario, right? Same thing from a physician. And, I don't see why anyone would not demand that same level of excellence when they're dealing with the largest asset. But for some reason, they tend to make the mistake over and over and over again. And here's the facts. The fact is the single most important variable that determines your failure or success as a home seller, especially in today's market, comes down to one thing only. That thing is the agent you choose, period. Not the wall color, not the quality of your grass, right? It comes down to how they actually execute, because here's the reality. In selling a property, it's a lot more difficult than you think. There's 118 different variables from A to Z. If each one's handled correctly, guess what that does? Puts money in your pocket and gets you more money, obviously, for your home, and gets it sold, quickly and for the most amount of money. If there's anything handled incorrectly, aka they drop the ball at any point, guess what happens? That costs you your hard-earned equity, or the property does not sell. What I see happen now is that they just sell it, it gets done, but they cost themselves $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 in terms of what the whole process has done, because they're just not understanding what has to happen. And here's the reality, right? The average agent or marketplace sells 4.3 homes a year. That's not very, very much experience in a year, even 5 or 10 years, right? In terms of what can happen, what can go wrong, what are the nuances you need to look for to help guide the client. To really have a true, deep understanding of the market and the pace of the market, you have to be involved at a very, very high level and do lots and lots of transactions, right? I can read all the law books I want, but it's not until I'm in court, right, dealing with the stresses and the realities of what happens in real time, am I able to understand at a high level and be able to execute for my client at the highest level. It's the same thing when you're dealing with your largest asset. And so what you find is most agents just do 3 things. We call it the 3 Ps. Number 1, they promise you the world, a.k.a. anything and everything to get you to list a property with them. Number 2, they just put it into the MLS, the multiple listing system, or multiple listing service. And 3, just pray that someone else brings a buyer from a different company. Meanwhile, they get half the commission. They're moving down the street trying to get another listing just because they're trying to survive and pay next month's rent or mortgage payment. And that's the reality of the market. I grew up in it. I've seen it. I've been in the business over 17 years. And it's something that just happens not just here, but all over the country, because it has to do with business model. You have one agent who tries to juggle all those 118 different variables by themselves on not just your listing, but all the other ones as well. And I'll tell you right now, the market is so hot that so many mistakes are being made over and over and over. We see it happen all the time. And you want to make sure that you have an agent who has a system and a process to really help you get the max amount of money, and you can really capitalize on what's happening right now. But unfortunately, so many people aren't because they're making this mistake of thinking that all real estate agents are the same. And so if you get anything from this show or listen to this show for a while, please take that in, understand and say, look, let me just step back and look at things and really think through critically about how does this happen and what has to happen from A to Z for me to get the most amount of money. I think that's super, super important. And what I did is I noticed, like, there's a lot of problems. There's a lot of challenges. A lot of people that are unhappy with a real estate agent, right? It's a reality. A lot of people we talk to who bought or sold somewhere else, it could be across the country, it could be here, usually had a bad story or horror story they told us. And a lot of it had to do with communication. They didn't feel like their agent worked hard enough for them. They didn't feel like their agent actually cared about them. And there's all these things. And so the problem is, it's not that they don't care, don't have time for you. It's just that they just can't keep up with all the balls they're trying to juggle in the air at the same time. And so I said, there's got to be a better way, and there's got to be a way to do that. And I went out and really kind of set out and designed this system called the Guaranteed Sold System. It's the only proven system, sells twice as fast and for up to 20% more money than traditional methods. And it's very, very important because you stack these dominoes up to give the client leverage. We manage all those 118 different variables proactively with two things: people, a.k.a. a team, and two, technology to manage these things to give you really different variable points. And so what we do is we create leverage at point number one, at point number two, at point number three, and you stack those small dominoes up over 118 different ones. It creates a gap between us and everyone else and gives our client a huge, huge competitive advantage. On the flip side, it's the most difficult time to ever buy a house right now, at least everybody's saying that, in terms of the actual market pace. And so you want to make sure you have an agent who can really understand what's going on, can advise you, can tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. And the reality is there needs to be someone who has a system out there. And thankfully, we designed one of those to give our clients the ultimate competitive advantage. It's called the Unfair Advantage Home Buying System. It gets you priority access to all the listings from all the companies. The very minute listed, including bank foreclosure, distress sales, desperate sellers, the absolute best negotiation and purchase price, as well as the home inspection to get you to that closing table successfully. But it matters in terms of experience and what's happening, right? Just from any job or any type of thing, you have a coach, right? A basketball coach, football coach. Guess what they have to get victories and success? Experience, right? You want to make sure you have someone who understands what's going on, does lots of transactions, and really kind of have the ins and outs of it. We had someone this week we know, really acquaintance of mine, met one of our agents, loved what we had, saw the things we had, but went with an agent who was a 0.5% different in terms of commission. No problem. Looked it up. They sold one house ever. This is a $630,000 house. Went with someone who sold one house ever in history, and they're gambling with their largest asset. And the reality is there's so many things that come up right now. And just a normal market is very, very difficult in terms of how do you negotiate, how do you not give too much away, how do you price it the right way, how do you market the right way, right? Do you understand the psychology of buyers when they buy? Can you take the right professional photography, put those right photos in the right order so that more buyers click through them? There's all these things that have to happen, and the last thing you want to do is throw it up to chance just trying to save a few dollars. My mom always used to have this saying called a nickel holding up a dollar, and we see that over and over and over again. The reality is most of them are very, very similar in terms of price. You just want to make sure you understand that who you choose matters, and that makes the biggest difference in terms of that. And so we'll talk more about that in a few minutes, about those systems and really how they bring some success stories and also some flip side, some horror stories you hear right now for people who are not using someone who's an expert in the field.
Here with my trusted friend in the real estate market, Blake Sloan of Sloan Realty Group. So what are home sellers, what do they need to know about the market right now?
Home sellers need to know the market here on the Grand Strand, absolutely on fire. We're seeing record numbers in terms of prices that sellers are getting. It's almost unbelievable. We're seeing hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars coming in the Northeast that are just bidding up properties and getting sellers more money than they ever thought possible.
Got it. Now, how will that get them more money?
That's going to help get home sellers more money because there's more buyers here than we've ever seen before. But we're not sure how long that's going to last. We are seeing that start to level off a little bit, and some of that interest has started to slow down. So sellers definitely need to take advantage of the super hot market right now before there's any type of shift.
All right, as always, thanks for the insight. Call Blake Sloan today at 808-SOLD. That's 808-SOLD. Or online at blakesloan.com. That's blakesloan.com.
Hi, I'm Barbara Corcoran. I'm excited to connect with Blake Sloan, the only real estate agent in Myrtle Beach that I recommend. You offer several options to home sales, which really takes away the stress.
That's right. For sellers in a time crunch, we can agree to sell it by a certain date, pay cash for your home, or even rent it.
That's great. And if the seller has a bit more time?
We use our proven marketing plan to sell it for the highest price.
Work with my friend Blake Sloan and get your home sold on your terms.
Welcome back to Blake Sloan Real Estate Show. Got the brand new market numbers in, and really quick, we'll recap the overall macro market to kind of just frame up and say, hey, look, here's what's going on. The overall Grand Strand from Southern North Carolina, all around Myrtle Beach, down to Georgetown, Andrews, inland to Marion, Mullins, things like that. And so that's kind of the overall area we cover in terms of our local data source in that scenario. So right now, single-family homes last month, if you look at, they compare. So, for example, we have January versus January because this month's numbers aren't in yet, obviously. But looking at January's numbers, sales are down 6.3% from the same month last year. So declining sales overall. That comes on the heels of just an overall kind of slow December. I'll tell you one thing. We saw massive uptick in terms of buyer traffic and buyers making offers and purchasing properties the very minute that the first week of January started. And so I do foresee we'll see February's numbers jump up, right? But here's the thing. There's two types of numbers. There's properties that go into contract, right, a.k.a. pending properties. We'll talk about that a little bit too. And properties that close. So if you look at January's numbers, the reality was they went under contract 30 to 60 days prior. And so that's what you're looking at there. The ones that close in January probably went under contract November, December, some in late October. So 6.3% decrease, 475 homes sold, and overall just for single-family resale homes in terms of January versus 507 the same month last year. The good news is prices still up, a new record price in terms of median price here on the Grand Strand. Prices last month up 21.8% at $335,000 even, which is awesome. Average sale price up 14.6% from the same month last year. Not quite the peak last year. Prices peaked out in September at $416.45. They dropped back down in November, December, and then back up a little bit in January to $402,796, which is awesome. The one thing we've been talking about overall, inventory. Inventory is still the biggest part of the story. Overall, new record lows have been hovering at 1.0 months inventory, right between 0.9 months, which means there's a heck of a lot less houses available than there really ever has been. Right now, inventory is down 41.2% from the same month last year, and there's just, as anywhere, there's hardly any houses available across the country. We'll talk about what happens with that, especially as you see interest rates continue to rise overall in that aspect. And so one thing we'll look at, too, in terms of condos, really quick, I'll just touch on that for any resale condos. Condo sales have been super hot as well. Condo sales last month up 21.4% overall, which is amazing news. What we've seen is, like I mentioned, affordability went up significantly in houses over 2020, early 2021. Then what happened is everyone switched to condos in terms of affordability because many buyers were getting priced out of the market. We had literally hundreds of those that our team really talked to and dealt with over the last 2 years in terms of people who originally looked at homes. They finally switched their search to condos, and so that's really smoking hot right now, too. New record in terms of condo sales price. Average price up 14.5% at $228,781. Median price up, which is great. It had a little dip in December. It's up 21.9% at $195,000, and overall, the big story there is also inventory. Inventory is down 80.6% at 0.6 months inventory, which means there's hardly anything available. You want to make sure you take advantage of that if you're a condo seller overall. Here's one thing I'm going to do. We'll run in and just kind of hit a couple key zip codes. This is the one I get the most feedback on, the one I get the most questions about. It's like, hey, look, Blake, what's my area doing? What's my neighborhood doing? Because on the Grand Strand is, like I mentioned earlier, a very dynamic market. Some areas are more inland, some are close to the beach, some are more high demand than others, and we kind of see it rotate based on what's happening in the marketplace. And so anytime you're looking to make a decision with your largest assets, you want to make sure you have the right data and someone who can understand that data and articulate that into a way that you can understand and make good decisions. So anyone with our clients, we always break down the overall macro market data, the micro market, which is their zip code, and we take it all the way down to what's happening in their neighborhood, so we can really look at how do we push the limits and push the envelope to get you the most amount of money for your home. So right now, looking at Myrtle Beach, 29577 and 29572 zip codes. Sales last month down 23.9%. So very interesting to say the least. We also saw a slight decline in price in January for Myrtle Beach, down 1.3%. So it's $377,500. Down from $382,647 the same month last year. And so that's interesting enough to watch. And, something that has to do with just a lot of people just being priced out. They could afford before. They no longer can afford those areas. And you're kind of seeing it hit a little bit of a ceiling, so to speak, in that regard. Overall, in townhouses and condos, which is a lot in Myrtle Beach area, closed sales up last month, 33.9% from the same month last year. So 174 in 2001 up to 233 in January this year, which is awesome. Prices also up significantly. Prices up 24.3%. Last year was 154,500. This year 192 even, which is awesome news. Inventory is down 80.5% in terms of, this is crazy numbers. So watch this. In January last year, there was 969 condos for sale. Pretty significant, right? And that's just in those two zip codes. Right now, only 189 condos for sale. So you can see the problem there, right? Just a lot less inventory in terms of those areas, which is very, very interesting. You want to make sure that you can tee it up the right way so you get the most amount of money for your property, either home or condo there. North Myrtle Beach, which is 29582 zip code. Sales up, which is great. Up 23.4% last month, which is awesome. Median price is through the roof. Rocket ship in terms of prices there, up 31.3%. So check this out. In 2021, January, it was $385,000 for median price. Right now, the same area, $505,673, which is nuts. And so great news for homeowners there. Inventory is down 56.4%. Condo sales also up in North Myrtle Beach, up 16.3% from the same time last year. Prices for condos up 11.1%, which is awesome. $262,500 right now is the median price near Little River. Sales down significantly, down 28.2%, from 71 down to 51. Some of that has to do with inventory. You want to break it down case-by-case basis, but prices, huge news, big time, 34.7% increase in price, which is awesome, from $272,420 last year to $367,011 right now, which is amazing. So $367,011 in terms of massive increase in home equity for a lot of people. Conway area still is pretty flat, up 3.0% from $132 last year to $136 this year. The great news, though, prices still up from $215,960 last year to $255,25 this year, up 18.1%, which is awesome. Obviously not a whole lot of condo sales in Conway. Loris and Longs, 29569, 29568, sales up significantly. We've seen a lot of expansion out there. Just there's a lot of areas to develop, a lot more neighborhoods that are fairly new out there. You're seeing some turnover, which is good, up 27.1% in terms of closed home sales. Median price, huge jump, 34.5% increase in terms of prices. So last year, January, $206,290. Right now, $277,452. And on average, every home out there is getting 99.0% of asking price every single time. So great opportunity for any home sellers out there. Surfside Beach, where I grew up. Part of my life in a way. Closed sales down 18.3% from 60 last year to 49 this year. A lot has to do with inventory. Prices up 19.5%, which is awesome, from 283 last year to 338,291. Big time increase for home equity for homeowners in 29575 zip code. In the Garden City, Myrtle's in the pretty much flat in terms of sales. 68 sales last year in January, 67 sales this year in January. Right on the money, pretty much the same. The best part, though, prices up 29.5% from $316,678 to $410,000. So $410,000 right now, median price in Garden City, Myrtle's Inlet, which is awesome news overall. Pawleys Island, Litchfield, been super hot in terms of prices lately. Sales almost identical in terms of actual closed sales. 36 last year, 37 sales this year, so almost identical. The great news, price is still up. Low inventory is kind of helping protect price in these areas here. $376,680 last year. Right now, $472,500 in terms of overall median price, which is great news. You used to see a huge difference between Pawleys and Litchfield in terms of median price from like Myrtle Beach and Myrtle's Inlet, but now they're very close. For example, Myrtle's Inlet and Garden City is right in the $400,000 range with those as well. Aner area. Aner's down significantly, went from 13 sales to 8 sales in January. Again, that's the area that's not to fulfill with actual inventory, just few and far between. But the good news is everything's pretty much flat. Prices are pretty much similar where they were. $276,000 last year, $261,700. That's just going to be a case by case. We've sold some massive properties in Aner just last year with horses and acreage, so it's all going to be a case by case basis there in terms of what's selling. Pawleys Island. Litchfield, we just talked about that. And last one is Georgetown. Sales are identical for closed sales. Last year, 28 sales. This year, 28 sales. But the best part, prices up 19.5% at $245,000 last year, up to $292,707 this year. So great news. Here's the key part, though. I've been tracking daily what's happening in terms of properties going under contract since the 1st of January. It's been smoking hot. And, like, just for example, as of today, there's been 722 properties going to contract in the last 7 days just here in the Grand Strand that are just overall. $240 million sold in the last 7 days, which is awesome. The average price for those is $322,000. But here's the crazy part. You're seeing a lot of high-end properties. We've been selling a lot. 18 properties over $1 million went into contract the last 7 days. Huge jump there. We're seeing massive amounts of money come in from out of state. A lot of cash buyers we've been working with, even institutional buyers. We've had offers on our listings with $3.385 million Deborah, $2.795 million North Litchfield, Grand Dunes $1.925. A lot of stuff we're seeing, even one in Myrtle Beach area, $1.975. So there's lots and lots of big stuff coming through here just from other areas. And so you definitely want to keep that in mind if I'm a home seller. There has been a little bit of a rejuvenation, so to speak, after December. But the one thing that may hinder that has been rates. We have seen some buyers who have not able to qualify like they were. A lot of people have been sweating trying to make sure they can lock their rates in because we've seen huge jumps lately. So just for example, 2 shows ago, it was 3.71%. Last week's show was 4.02%. Right now it's 4.09%. Yesterday it was 4.10%. Actually on Thursday it was 4.10%. And the high this week, though, it hit 4.12%, which is a new high, obviously a 52-week high. And so we want to see what happens there. You know, we will probably see that climb up a little bit. The good news is getting some buyers off the fence in the short term. The long-term effect, though, less buyers will be able to qualify for your properties based on price range. And you may see people just start to really hold out. Anybody that got in, high 2s and low 3s in terms of interest rates, a lot of times you're just going to kind of stay put. And so it does kind of create this stalemate that you may see happen in the future. I've been talking about that on this show for a few years now. But the good news is it's still super low if you look back really historically. Great opportunity, especially when to lock in and take advantage of some of these massive increase in terms of median price and average price. And we'll talk about that, kind of what's going on here, what to look for going forward here. I'll take this really quick break.
WRNN listeners, Clay Travis here. As investors in real estate, Buck and I both know exactly what to look for to find the agent with the best tools and marketing to get the highest sales price possible for a home.
Totally true, Clay. And here in Myrtle Beach, that agent is our friend Blake Sloan of Sloan Realty Group. If you need to sell a home and buy a new one, ask Blake about his guarantee.
Get this, Blake guarantees to sell your home at a price and deadline you agree to, or he'll buy it himself. And since you know when your current home will sell by and for how much, you can buy your next home without worrying about getting stuck with 2 mortgages.
There's simply no other agent in the market who has a guarantee that will line up against what Blake Sloan can offer you. So when you're looking to sell and buy, he is your guy. Read nearly 750 5-star reviews by Googling Sloan Realty Group. Give Blake a call today and start packing. That's Sloan Realty Group.
And tune in to Blake's shows Saturdays at 9 a.m. and Sundays at 11:30 a.m.
Welcome back to the Blake Sloan, the real estate show. We got a hot buyers alert. My team and I are working with a ridiculous amount of home buyers right now who are looking for homes in the Myrtle Beach, Grand Strand area from $200,000 to $4.3 million. If you're thinking about selling, please contact us, my office, immediately. 843-808-SOLD. That's 843-808-SOLD. And here's the deal. One thing we do in the show over 10 years is we like to say we like proof versus promises. A lot of agents just talk about promises, and they say they're number one and this and that. We like to show it. So here's the reality of what we have. Any client we sit down with, like, here's the back end of our website. Here's all the buyer search, and here's where they're from. Here's what they do. And so one thing I've been doing this show for a long time is we really just share the real-time data of how many active buyers we have with username, password, account that we've acquired through our marketing. And as anybody knows, you drive around town, see the billboards, see the radio. We spend tens of thousands of dollars, especially online, driving traffic to capture buyers from all over the country and the globe, right? We outspend the average agent here in our marketplace 100 to 1 from a marketing standpoint. How we do that is really a business model. The business model we have gives me a competitive advantage in terms of I can outspend the average agent on a big scale because we have a team of people, over 25-plus buyer experts right now, that they work with buyer leads from all across the country all day, every day, and we're much more efficient in that follow-up. And then we're able to have buyers in waiting that we can immediately match up to in your property. And so while most agents start their marketing after they put the for sale sign on the ground, we've been spending marketing dollars months and months and months and years ahead to capture buyers so that we can use technology that we developed to match them up to your property instantly. And so right now, our current count of home buyers who are signed up, actively searching on our website, right now, 66,847 active home buyers. Again, that's 66,847 home buyers. And you can see my problem is, like right now, for active homes, single-family homes in Horry County, there's only 330 of them. This morning are 323. So somebody's listed 7 houses today so far. But here's the deal. We need inventory. Friend, relative, aunt, uncle, grandpa, grandma. If you like them, if you don't like them, do me a favor. Say, look, you got to call my buddy Blake, 843-808-SOLD. Do not let them make a mistake right now of going with some average agent who doesn't understand what's going on. Like right now we have buyers from all across the country. I got Joanna from Atlanta, Georgia. I got Laura from Gatlinburg, Tennessee. I got, I can pronounce this one, Cheyenne from Paducah, Kentucky. I got Coropolis, Pennsylvania, Clayton, North Carolina, Hurt, VA. We got Joan from Myrtle Beach. I got Lee from Rayford, North Carolina. So the reality is, we're not here just to come in and hopefully put a for sale sign. I hope that we can get the job done. I made an announcement in 2020 when we had the lockdown that said, here's the deal. When everyone else is pulling back, I'm doubling down on the marketing. You guys have seen that. We've been doing that. And that's how we're getting massive, massive results for our clients in this market. And really quick, I'll talk about 2 quick success stories. Got about 2 minutes left. All right, cool. Big shout out to Amber. Amber owned 3 high-end rental properties here in Myrtle Beach. Have been trying to sell them for the past 5 months to cash out at the top of the stage real estate market. Unfortunately, though, Amber had her properties listed with an average realtor for the previous 5 months, and not only did she not receive an acceptable offer from the properties, she did not receive one single offer on any of the properties during the entire 5 months. Amber is frustrated and disappointed. Thankfully, Amber saw our billboards all over town, was curious how the Guaranteed Sold program worked, decided to give us a call. We came in, met with Amber, identified the problem, which was marketing and exposure, shared her exactly how we can get her luxury property sold quickly for top dollar. Amber's absolutely blown away by what we did and what she was missing out in the past 5 months. We came in, launched our Globe Marketing Blitz, professional photos, the virtual reality walkthrough, drove massive traffic. In just a couple of days, received 2 full price offers on 2 of her properties. And now Amber doesn't worry about the hassles of being a landlord by putting maximum money in her pocket. And again, this is back-to-back from the other agent. This is not like months later or anything. So it has to do with the differentiation, the marketing piece. And last thing here, Mark recently decided to start exploring options of selling his home in North Myrtle Beach that he'd been using for a vacation rental. Initially, though, he had reached out to investors and submitted to a website. And here's the thing. Investors offered him 50 to 60 cents in the dollar. Thankfully, he didn't take that. He was referred to us by one of our past clients. He gave us a call. We came in, showed him exactly what we can do and how we can get him. Check this out. $50,000 more than what he thought that he could ever realistically get for his property. We came in, designed a custom marketing plan. We want to sell it as is as well. We launched Globe Marketing Blitz, professional photos, a virtual reality walkthrough tour. Within a couple of days, drove massive traffic around the globe, received 8 offers on the home, driving the price up. Mark accepted and offered $10,000 above asking price for $60,000 more than what he originally thought he could get for her. So don't make a mistake. Call us first, 843-808-SOLD. We'll see you back here next week.
Hey, Myrtle Beach, it's Gary LaVox, lead singer of Rascal Flatts. I'm moving on. When I'm Moving On won the award for ACM Song of the Year, it struck a chord with folks who understand the challenges that come with life's big changes. For many, that happens when it comes time to sell their home. If you're moving on, you want a real estate agent who will make selling your home easy and stress-free. An agent who's willing to let you out of the contract if you're not happy with their service. That's why in Myrtle Beach, I can tell you that Blake Sloan of Sloan Realty Group markets your home on a whole different level. Now listen, Blake is so confident in his ability to sell your home quickly and for more money that he guarantees to sell it or he'll buy it himself. If you're moving on, trust Blake to provide your family a stress-free home sale experience. Find Blake Sloan online at blakesloan.com or you can call him at 843-808-SOLD and start packing.